Who doesn't have nice memories of sitting down the evening to just watch a few classic Simpsons reruns as kids, teenagers, or adults?
You got that right, Phantom Strider. Like everyone, I love The Simpsons. I'm not a super fan, but I do have a big soft spot for this show. And you know what? Let's review the entire first season. Why season 1? Because it's definitely the season I'm most familiar with. Probably not my favourite, but the one I'm most familiar with and nostalgic for. I've had my Simpsons Season 1 DVD for years. I got it when it was still in shops back in 2017. And you know what? Let's review it. We're also going to do something different. Most people obviously go in the broadcast order. I'm going to go in production order because I heard someone on YouTube say that's better. So let's find out. Personally, I always say Simpsons can be enjoyed with any order you choose. Any episode, not even Season 1, just any episode in general you choose to watch as your first episode is a great introduction because Simpsons is a great show to pop in and out of anytime you want. Also, you all know I'm Australian, and fun fact, for some weird reason, Simpsons Season 1 is rated G, even though it's probably the darkest season. As we get into this, we're going to see a lot of dark themes that later seasons do not cover. But yeah, some reason it's rated G. Why did the Australians rating board think that? I don't know. Without further ado, let's get on to Simpsons Season 1, starting with Simon Chatter and Evening, the first ever episode of The Simpsons made. Like I said, we're going in production order. Now, I'm going to try my best to keep these reviews very short and just list off random things about the episode, not so much the episode plot. Keyword is try, can't guarantee about that. Anyway, so this is actually the pilot and originally going to be the first episode. And as a pilot, I think it's okay. I think the Miss Bot stuff is a bit too dark for a pilot. I remember as a kid, I was just thinking, haha, evil babysitter. But now I'm like, oh my god, she's robbing the house and tying the kids up. This is very dark. It's definitely one of those things, the older you get, the more unsettling it is. I personally think the Christmas special, which was the first one aired, is a better pilot. I should know. That was actually the very first episode I showed my nonna and she loved it. But like I said, The Simpsons can be enjoyed in any order you watch. It's not even like SpongeBob when I'm like, you should watch the first episode, but after that, you can just go in any order with SpongeBob. No, Simpsons, as long as it's maybe not a Treehouse of Horror, any episode you watch as your first is a good one. Because that's the nature of episodic shows. To me, you can just pop in and out anytime you want. Anyway, my favorite scene of this episode was surprisingly the bar scene. Just because of this shot of Moe. Like, he looks so ugly. Like, you know in later seasons, they always joke about, ooh, Moe's so ugly. This is the exact thing they're making fun of. It reminds me of that scene in Eternal Moonshine of the Simpsons' mind when he's trying to pause on a good shot of himself. That's what this scene reminds me of, and it's so dumb, but I love it for it. Also, Moses jackass in this episode.
Listen, you little yellow belly rat jackass.
And you're probably thinking, jackass is not that bad of a swear word. And you're right, but the only reason it stuck out to me is because, remember, this is rated G. So basically, Australians rating board, are you saying that kids can watch this season and this season alone, but any other season is too much? That makes no sense to me. I mean, I know some kids weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up. Personally, if I had kids, I would let them happily watch The Simpsons because I think it's kid-friendly enough. And also, a lot of the jokes went right over my head, so it's probably going to do the same to them. But I'm not a dad, so what would I know? And that's enough for me talking about the ratings board. Anyway, I quite enjoyed this episode. It's definitely one of those episodes I thought was much better as a kid compared to now, but I still enjoy it. Like all Simpsons episodes, I just like sitting down and vibing with it. That's what The Simpsons is all about to me. Anyway, before we get on to the next episode, I'll quickly mention the animation. The animation for this episode apparently went through production hell. That's why it's the last episode of Season 1 aired, even though it's the first one to be made. As you can see here, the original animation was very bad and more cartoony. Albert Brooks even said it was shit and a foul substance that causes disease. No one liked this animation, me included. I hate it. And because of that, most of the animation was scratched, but you can still see some remnants of it. So you go from really polished stuff like this to more crude stuff like this. But I will admit, I think they played it really smart and picked the best shots because these shots that they did end up using are more Bart the Genius levels of crude than the original animation crude. Speaking of Bart the Genius, that's the next episode and let's move on to it. Bart the Genius. I actually don't have much to say about this episode compared to the last one. All I have to say is, oh boy, I related to Martin too much because I was that kid, the tattletale that told everyone off. And of course, everyone had a grudge against me. Which is very ironic to think about because I know I'm Bart. I hate school. I never want to go there. I'm very happy I don't have to go there anymore. I hate school. Anyway, that's enough of my personal life. I better stop before I have an aneurysm thinking about my old school days I hate so much. The other thing that stood out to me is the animation, because this is like the very first episode that we're actually happy to like, yeah, this is fine. And you can kind of tell because, oh my god, it is janky in places, but it does have its charm. Also, season 1 to 5 of The Simpsons were drawn on cells, which basically means it's a physical painting. So that means crude shots like this physically existed as a painting, and who knows, if they're still around today, you could probably hang them up on your wall. Personally, I would love to own this cell. I mean, who knows? I might print out a photo of this and put it in a picture frame, because no joke, this screenshot was my favorite part of the episode. This screenshot alone gave me a good chuckle. Also, Bart dreams about trains in this episode, and I think we all know I like trains. Mainly Thomas trains, but I have a soft spot for all trains in general, of course. So yeah, this was a bit of a shorter review compared to Summer Chat at Evening. So let's move on to episode 3, Homer's Odyssey. Homer's Odyssey. Now, I really do think when people think of season 1, they think of this episode. You know, rougher animation, darker themes, and of course, characters being the wrong race, all that sort of stuff. This episode has all those Homers. For Christ's sake, Homer tries to, well, let's just say go to sleep for a long time, shall we? Yeah, it does get pretty dark, and nowadays is kind of the flagship episode, because like I said, when people think of season 1 of The Simpsons, they think of this episode. Also, Marge gets a job in this episode, and I never realized that until now, because I generally thought this was a flashback, not saying, oh, hey, Marge got a job instead of Homer. See, I told you stuff in this show goes over kids' heads. Also, this crowd scene is hilarious. Like, look at some of these faces. Like, this conjoined twin guy might be my favorite. And who could forget this classic guy yelling out his lungs? And like I said, these were all painted on cells, meaning this crowd physically existed. No joke, I would love to see a Treehouse of Horror where the new HD Homer comes face to face with all these old people and has a chat to them. That would be hilarious. Also, most of the characters who aren't the Simpsons family are so mean in this one. Like Mo, just like, oh yeah, you're not going to get a job and pay me back. Jesus Christ, Mo, be nice to your friend. Also, the old forgotten season 1 neighbors not only know what Homer's going to do, they have a jolly laugh about it. Like, Jesus Christ, show some respect for the poor man. Also, I just love this scene of Homer sitting down eating donuts. He's like me. I love my donuts. I mean, you can tell I like the scene because if you don't know, I got bored inside to recreate it.
You know, I defy anyone to tell the difference between these donuts and one baked today.
You know, I defy anyone to tell the difference between these donuts and one's baked today. Also, going back to the darkness real quick, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the rougher animation kind of adds to the uncanny and darkness of this episode. Because you're just sitting there watching it and thinking to yourself, this isn't The Simpsons I know and love. Rougher animation, different voices, and very dark themes. It almost feels like a completely different show, but it isn't at the same time. It's very weird and uncomfortable, at least for me. So yeah, I think we should go on to the next episode to lighten the mood up. And the next episode is There's No Disgrace Like Home. There's no disgrace like home. I really have almost nothing to say about this episode. All I have to say is I enjoyed my time with it. It's the episode that has the shock therapy scene and also Homer ponds the TV. I know, very short review. Let's move on to episode 5, Bart the General. Bart the General. Now, I actually watched this episode after watching a video about Simpsons Mania in the 90s, like 1990, and how it was very edgy for its time. And watching this episode, yeah, I can kind of tell. I mean, don't get me wrong, nowadays this is absolutely nothing and very kid-friendly in a weird way. But at the time, ooh boy, this ruffled some feathers, because, you know, Bart punchy. I mean, Nelson bleeds in this episode. For the time, that must have been very edgy. Also, that Family Jewels joke, which went right over my head as a kid. I did not know what the hell that was, but looking back on it now, it's pretty funny. Even Fox thought it was a bit edgy and actually wanted to remove that joke. And the best part about it is, apparently Grandpa on his typewriter is basically the writers making fun of that, which is hilarious. Also, this is the first time we see Bart actually be like a good brother and defend his sister. And as someone who has an older sister, I can confirm that's absolutely true. Siblings only stick after each other when shit like this is going down. Also, do you remember that Rumpus-Room that barely gets seen? Apparently, this is his first appearance. It looks nothing how it looks later. But apparently, I heard on the video, this is the Rumpus-Room's first appearance. So yeah, fun piece of trivia there. Let's go on to episode 6, Moaning Lisa. Moaning Lisa, the fan favorite of season 1. Everyone loves this episode, and I agree, it's amazing. Like the scene where Marge realized she gave bad advice to Lisa, and she's like, let me do the smiling for both of us. One of my favorite Simpsons scenes of all time, still to this day. Such a powerful scene. Also, Lisa saying, what's the point, reminded me of another yellow character.
I'm just wondering, what's the point?
What's the point? Said Ernest.
Also, what the hell is going on with Bart's eyes here? Honestly, reminds me of this shot with Birdie. Also, that B-plot with the boxing was really fun, and I think it was kind of needed, this being an episode about childhood depression. This boxing scene makes it a bit more lighthearted and fun, but don't get me wrong, it does a really good job with portraying childhood depression. Again, I don't have much to say about this episode besides it's really good, and we're halfway through the video now. Episode 7, The Telltale Head. Now, I actually only have one thing to say about this. Apparently, there is a deleted scene that is available on the version on Disney Plus, but not on the DVD release. I'll let you see it.
But I'd like to add one thing. It wasn't until I removed the head of Jebediah Springfield that we realized we were taking our heritage for granted. That was a crime, too. One I think we are all guilty of.
The kid's got us there.
Got a point there.
But interestingly, and I'm presuming this scene was added to pad out the extra seconds they lost, Homer says this line on the DVD version that's not in the Disney Plus version.
Good going, son. But remember, most lynch mobs aren't as nice.
Also, South Park has referenced this episode. I don't like South Park. I think it's stupid shit, but hey, they referenced the classic Simpsons episode. Good for them.
Really? What's the worst thing you've ever done?
I stole the head off a statue once.
Yeah, I know, kind of a short review, but hey, I'm just here to watch some Simpsons. And with that, we have reached the end of part 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. This video has been in development for a long time, and I've been procrastinating, I'm going to be honest. I will do part 2 someday, I can't promise, but one day I'll do part 2. Just thanks for watching this video. I know this has been a long time coming, and that was the first part of my Simpsons Season 1 review. See you next time for part 2, whenever that is.